At 2:47 a.m., phones didn't ring. They exploded. Not from fans, not from media, from inside Team USA. A single message ripped through the coaching group like a fire alarm. Everyone, now. No injuries, no scandals, no leaks, just one name. And the reason they never expected to say it out loud, because hours earlier, on a closed practice court with no cameras and no crowd, Caitlin Clark did something that shattered the plan. Not just the rotation, not just egos, the entire hierarchy. And what you're about to hear, the whispers, the panic, the emergency calls, was never meant to leave that gym. But it did. Let's rewind, because this story doesn't start with a midnight meeting. It starts with a decision that lit the WNBA world on fire, the 2024 Olympics roster. When the list dropped and Caitlin Clark's name wasn't on it, people didn't just disagree, they erupted. This is the NCAA's all-time leading scorer, the player who turned random Tuesday nights into must-watch television. The reason arenas sold out weeks in advance, and Team USA said, not yet. Officially, she needs more experience. The international game is different. She'll get her chance. Unofficially, she didn't fit the system. Caitlin Clark doesn't wait her turn. She doesn't blend into veteran politics. She doesn't play small to make others comfortable. And for a Team USA structure built on seniority and control, that was a problem. So they left her home. They expected silence. They expected patience. They expected her to fall in line. Instead, she disappeared. No interviews, no cryptic tweets, no public frustration, just quiet. And that silence made people uneasy. Because behind closed doors, Caitlin Clark wasn't sulking. She was rebuilding herself from the ground up. Sources from her inner circle say she treated the Olympic snub like a mission. Her body changed, her pace changed, her mind changed. Hours of international film, obsessive breakdowns of Team USA sets, studying defensive schemes down to foot placement. Not to talk back, not to complain, but to walk onto their floor and take something from them. So when she arrived at the Team USA training facility months later, veterans felt it instantly. She didn't look nervous. She didn't look grateful. She looked ready. Then she opened her locker, and the jersey inside told her everything. Not 22, a different number, a message without words. You're not special here. What they didn't realize, that number change was the last mistake they'd make before everything spiraled out of control. The jersey number wasn't an accident. Inside elite basketball programs, nothing ever is. When Caitlin Clark held that unfamiliar jersey, she didn't argue. She didn't ask for an explanation. She didn't even blink. She smiled. And that's what unsettled people. Because veterans noticed something immediately. She wasn't rattled. She was amused. Practice started light. Warm-ups, passing lines, routine stuff. But the tension was thick. Everyone knew what the number meant. It was a reminder, a quiet power move. Earn it. And Caitlin Clark took that personally. The first scrimmage wasn't supposed to be competitive, just reps, just feel. That lasted about 3 possessions. On her first touch, she didn't shoot. She drew 2 defenders and whipped a no-look pass to the corner. Swish. Next possession, a hesitation dribble that froze an all-star in place. Step back, 3. Silence. Not celebration silence. The kind where sneakers stop squeaking and coaches stop talking. Then she did it again and again. But here's the part nobody expected. She wasn't just scoring. She was calling out defensive coverages before they happened, pointing, directing traffic, exposing switches before they formed. Veterans started glancing at the bench. Assistants started whispering. Because Caitlin Clark wasn't playing like a rookie fighting for a spot. She was playing like someone who already knew the answers to the test. By the second scrimmage, defenders pressed her full court. Didn't matter. She split traps. She dragged bigs into space. She pulled up from distances coaches hate, and she didn't miss. That's when frustration crept in. A hard foul here, a little extra contact there, still nothing. No trash talk, no reaction, just buckets. By the third run, something changed. The ball stopped moving as freely, except when it went through her hands, because teammates, even the veterans, started deferring, not out of respect, out of survival. If Caitlin Clark had the ball, something good happened, and if she didn't, nothing did. That's when one assistant quietly left the gym. Then another. Phones started coming out. Messages started flying. Because this wasn't a hot shooting night, this was a problem. The head coach finally called it. Practice over. Players headed to the locker room in stunned silence. And Caitlin Clark? She walked off the court calmly, wiped her shoes, and sat down. No celebration, no eye contact, like she'd just confirmed something she already knew. Minutes later, behind closed doors, a phrase echoed through the building. This can't get out. Because what happened next forced an emergency decision that would change Team USA's future. The meeting wasn't scheduled, it was summoned. Within 30 minutes of practice ending, every key decision maker was in the room. Doors locked, phones face down, voices low, no cameras, no assistants, just reality. Because the numbers on the whiteboard didn't lie. Efficiency through the roof. Turnovers down, spacing improved instantly when she was on the floor, and that's when the uncomfortable question landed. What do we do if she's already our best option? Silence. Not because they didn't know the answer, but because they did. This wasn't supposed to happen yet. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be a future problem, a next cycle conversation, a marketing win later. Instead, she had forced the issue now. One coach finally said what everyone was thinking. If we leave her off and this leaks, we look insane. Another fired back. If we bring her in, who sits? That's where the room split. Veterans had earned their spots, championships, gold medals, years of loyalty. But basketball doesn't care about resumes. It cares about results. And Caitlin Clark was delivering them in brutal fashion. Meanwhile, in the locker room, players were processing what they'd just witnessed. Some were impressed, some were irritated, a few were threatened. Because this wasn't just about minutes, this was about control. Caitlin Clark wasn't asking permission. She wasn't adapting to the system. The system was bending around her. One veteran reportedly said, "She's playing like the offense belongs to her." And the scariest part, she was right. The next day, practice resumed, but the energy was different. Defensive assignments were tighter. Physicality ramped up. Tests disguised as drills. They wanted to see how she'd respond. Did she force shots? Did she get emotional? Did she fold? She did the opposite. She facilitated. She let others eat. Then, when the moment mattered, she closed. Back-to-back threes, a logo pull-up. A dagger that made a coach audibly sigh. That's when the head coach called another timeout, longer this time. Eyes locked on one player, not with anger, with calculation. Because now the question wasn't if Caitlin Clark belonged. It was, how do you build Team USA without her? And there wasn't a good answer. By that night, the emergency meeting escalated. Not just coaches now, executives, USA basketball officials, PR advisors. Because if this story broke the wrong way, it wouldn't just be basketball news. It would be a storm. And the next decision they made, the one they thought would contain the damage, ended up lighting the fuse. The solution they landed on sounded safe, careful, controlled, temporary. They wouldn't announce anything. They wouldn't promise anything. Instead, they'd test her. Closed scrimmages, rotational experiments, lineups designed to expose weaknesses. If Caitlin Clark cracked, the problem solved itself. If she didn't, then they had a bigger problem. Because word was already spreading inside the facility. Not leaks, energy. Players talk. Trainers notice. Staff feels shifts before headlines do. And everyone felt it. The next closed-door scrimmage was supposed to humble her. Elite defenders glued to her. Aggressive hedges. Physical switches. From the opening possession, it was clear. She saw it coming. She didn't force shots. She manipulated space. Dragged two defenders with her just to slip a pass behind them. Used the threat of her pull-up to create lanes that didn't exist seconds earlier. Then, halfway through the run, she flipped the switch. Deep three. Stop. Another. Bench reaction. Gone. No clapping, no chatter, just coaches leaning forward. That's when something rare happened. The opposing unit, loaded with veterans, asked to switch matchups. They wanted different defenders. That's a quiet admission no one likes to make. And Caitlin Clark noticed. She hunted. Every possession became deliberate, calculated, not flashy, cold. One assistant later admitted, it felt like she was playing chess while everyone else was sprinting. By the end of the scrimmage, the score didn't matter. What mattered was who controlled the floor. And it wasn't the veterans. That night, another emergency meeting. This time, the tone was different. Not panic, fear. Because the more they tested her, the clearer it became. She wasn't just ready, she was necessary. But here's the catch. If they elevated her role now, it would expose the original decision, the Olympic snub, the messaging, the justification. They'd have to admit they were wrong, and institutions hate that. So they tried one last thing, a closed practice. No outsiders, no extra staff, just Team USA and Caitlin Clark. That's when it happened, the play, the moment, the reason phones started ringing before sunrise. Because Caitlin Clark didn't just outperform expectations, she broke the illusion. And once that illusion shattered, there was no putting it back together. The gym was silent before it happened. Not tense, not loud. Quiet in that eerie way where everyone knows something's coming, but no one knows what. Final closed practice. No cameras, no guests, no narrative control, just basketball. From the opening tip, Caitlin Clark was different. Not aggressive, intentional. She walked the ball up, pointed, called the set, and for the first time, no one questioned it. The play broke down immediately. Switch, hedge late, mismatch. Caitlin saw it before the defense did. One dribble to the left, step back from way beyond the line, splash. Next possession, same look, same result. Then it escalated. A logo three, a pull-up in transition, a pass threaded through three defenders that shouldn't exist. And then, the moment. A veteran defender closed out hard, too hard. Caitlin sidestepped, let it fly, whistle, and won. She didn't celebrate. She turned, looked straight at the bench, not defiant, certain. That's when the head coach stood up. Practice stopped. Players froze. Assistants exchanged looks. And the words that followed changed everything. We need to talk. Now. Within hours, the emergency meeting turned into damage control. Not because Caitlin Clark embarrassed anyone, but because she made the truth unavoidable. She wasn't a future piece. She wasn't a development story. She was already one of the best players in the gym, and everyone knew it. By morning, calls went out, not to players, to executives, to communications teams, to USA basketball leadership. Because once word leaked, once even a fraction of this got out, the question wouldn't be, why wasn't she ready? It would be, why did you try to hold her back? And that's why Team USA will never be the same. Not because Caitlin Clark demanded anything, but because she walked into their system and forced it to change around her, whether they were ready or not.